William Morris was a revolutionary force in Victorian Britain. His work as an artist, designer, craftsman, writer, and socialist drastically changed the fashions and ideologies of the era. Although he worked in the Victorian era, he also rebelled against the mass-produced goods of low quality. In 1861, Morris co-founded the decorative arts firm Morris, Marshall, Faulkner and Co. The firm soon became popular and their decorative designs became the highlight of the Victorian era. Poppy or wreath shows clearly how William Morris's confidence in creating highly sophisticated pattern repeats had evolved by the late 19th century. The design's rich colors, scrolling polish, and effect of three-dimensionality are typical of Morris & Co.'s output from the mid-1870s onwards. Pomegranate is an early wallpaper designed by William Morris and is known as fruit or pomegranate and dates from around 1865. It borrows motifs from Morris's medieval-style tapestry work, displaying a historical influence that his early work in the decorative arts shares with the pre-Raphaelite artists and with his supporter and art critic John Ruskin. It also highlights his interest in naturalism and plant forms. At first, Morris tried to print his designs in oil colors from etched zinc blocks. The process did not work. To overcome his failure, he ordered traditional pearwood blocks to be cut for fruit. Production was then subcontracted out to Jeffrey & Co. of Illington, which specialized in the production of hand-printed wallpaper. It became a favorite with the design-conscious middle classes. Designs like these were often seen in the Victorian homes, and pattern repeats as well as medieval influences and naturalism and plant forms were often seen and combined together. The arts and crafts movement was highly influential for the emergence of design as a professional discipline, but it was essentially anti-industrial, although it advocated economic and social reform. As an answer to the poor quality designs, the arts and crafts movement emphasized traditional craft methods. Henry Cole, a member of the movement, understood that by employing good and thoughtful designs, it was possible to industrially mass-produce goods of high quality. In his understanding, the designer was no longer a craftsman, but someone who created templates and planned the production process, while the machine and the factory workers implemented the design. The notions of good design were linked to the notion of good society. This was a vision of a society in which the worker was not brutalized by the working conditions found in factories, but rather could take pride in the craftsmanship and skill. The rise of a consumer class coincided with the rise of manufactured consumer goods. The eclectic style that came from the Victorian era was still seen. Aesthetic ideas were also borrowed from medieval European and Islamic sources. Japanese ideas were also incorporated in early arts and crafts form. The forms of arts and crafts style were typically rectilinear and angular, with stylized decorative motifs, reminiscent of medieval and Islamic design. In time, the English arts and crafts movement came to stress craftsmanship at the expense of mass market prices. The result was exquisitely made and decorated pieces that could only be afforded by the very wealthy. Philip Webb created the Red House. The Red House was the home William Morris designed in London, England, for his family with the assistance of Philip Webb. Morris wanted the house to be a place that reflected his ideals and celebrated art, craftsmanship, and community. The house was designed in a simplified Tudor Gothic style. The features of the style include historicizing elements such as steep roofs, prominent chimneys, cross gables, and exposed beam ceilings. The use of exposed red brick for the exterior both gave the house its name and reveals the innate beauty of the construction materials. Morris and Webb valued the specific beauty of natural materials, which they saw as superior to and healthier than industrial produced materials. Red House is L-shaped, with the rooms laid out for maximum efficiency and clarity. The L-shaped plan also allows the house to embrace the gardens as a part of the domestic sphere, as well as create an asymmetry that is typical of traditional Gothic structures that were built over long periods. The concept of an integral whole intended to the interior design as well. Webb was the only pre-Raphaelite to design a church, St. Martin's Church in Brampton in 1878. The church includes a set of stained glass windows designed by Edward Burne-Jones and executed in the Morris Company studio. The east window was the county memorial to its MP, Charles Howard, and is a blaze of intense color. This emphasizes the respect for craftsmanship during the arts and crafts movement. Webb's plan was quite unlike most other Victorian churches, with the body of the church being mostly square. The church is unusual in that it is a Victorian church not built in a Gothic style. Webb aimed for something new, with links to the past. The outside structure was to reflect the history of a border town, hence the church's fortress-like appearance and battlemented parapets. But at the same time, the church was to blend in with the surrounding houses. The predominant and striking impression is one of openness and surprising spaciousness for an Anglican church. The open back of the long bench pews helps this sense of space, as does the continuous white painted horizontal timber ceiling. The eye is carried along to the large east window. The body of the church is almost square. There is no separate chancel and no pulpit, and the two clergy stalls are almost in the center of the church. The design means that different sizes of congregations can be easily catered for.